Welcome to Boards, Beer, and BS, the Snomie.com podcast where snowboard pros, coaches, and local riders hang out, have a drink, and talk snowboarding. My name is Jedidiah Tan, snowboard coach and founder of Snomie.com. If you like hanging out with other snowboarders and talking about snowboarding, this is the podcast for you. So sit back and enjoy the podcast. Alright, so coming up on this episode of Boards, Beer, and BS, I'm going to cover where I've been and what's coming up for Snomie.com. I'm going to cover why the snowboard hard goods are a horrible market, and I'll talk more in depth about my thinking on this whole matter and why, despite all the emails I get about snowboard hard goods and why I don't create snowboards, and I'll tell you guys, I'll explain why I don't think snowboard hard goods are a good business and why I would never step into that area. And as well as that, we're also going to cover the snowboard spin cheat sheet that every pro uses. So I'm going to talk about the differences between corked and flat spins and how that applies to this special mental cheat sheet that every pro snowboarder uses and creates to really help them stomp down those snowboard tricks with ease and without getting injured. And it's actually a pretty big deal. I'm surprised I haven't mentioned it before, but this snowboard cheat sheet for spinning is something that every snowboarder out there needs to be developing. Okay, if you have any intention to keep learning spin tricks or keep learning tricks in general, this is something you need to be doing when you're snowboarding and doing tricks. Okay, so let's get into it. Now, firstly, obviously, like any Snomie snowboard podcast, this podcast is brought to you by our snowboard trick secrets tutorials. So if you're interested in getting the most detailed step-by-step trick tip tutorials on the planet, and I'm not talking about 2-minute simple YouTube tutorials, I'm talking a 30-minute tutorial breaking down all the basics of a 180, about the setup, about the pop, about the carving, about how you transition everything together. It's a difference, okay? Our tutorials aren't these simple 2-minute kind of crummy, hey, you just do this and this and this, and then you've got your 180, right? Our tutorials aren't like that. They are the most detailed trick tip tutorials I've seen anywhere on the planet, okay? So they are amazing, and I am obviously a bit biased, but they are awesome. And if you're interested in that sort of thing, and our VIP group, which is where I take students and look at their footage and tell them what they're doing wrong, basically. So I go one-on-one with them and say, hey, this is what you're doing in your 180. This is what you're doing wrong. This is how you can fix it and start stomping this trick, right? So if you're interested in that sort of one-on-one time with me and you want to get the most detailed snowboard trick tips videos on the planet, then check out our free snowboard trick secret series over at Snomie, so SNOMIE.com/snowboard trick secrets, and you guys can sign up and you guys can watch through the 4 free videos that I've got for you guys there. All right, so now let's get into the podcast. So where have I been? What's coming up for Snomie? Well, I've been really busy, obviously. Firstly, I got engaged, so yay, congrats for me. I got engaged, so I've been busy with that, planning everything that has to happen once you get engaged. And the other side of it is that I've been trying to figure out some visa issues in Canada. So the thing with me is that I'm not actually a Canadian resident, even though for a very long time I spent a lot of time in Canada. I'm not actually a resident there because the way it works is Australians can go visit Canada and I can snowboard or whatever I want there for up to 6 months at a time without a visa. And as well as that, there's a really good working holiday program in Canada where I could just turn up. I basically get a 2-year visa to enter Canada, work if I want to, leave. And so that's why I'm not really a resident. I've just never had that issue before. But since I've gotten engaged to my fiance, who I actually met in Whistler during one of the seasons when I was there, the issue is that she's not Australian and she's actually Korean, which gives a whole lot of issues because they don't enter Canada as easily. The border agents aren't as easy on Korean citizens entering Canada. And since I'm not a resident, I can't help out with the visa issues entering Canada. So it's been kind of a headache trying to figure out how I can, bring her over to Canada at some point as well. So that's where I've been. That's why I've been in South Korea a lot over the last year or two. As some of you guys may have noticed, I've been doing a lot of things in South Korea. It's because I'm here with my fiance. So that's where I've been anyway. So just an update for you guys who are curious about what's going on. But as well as that, why you guys haven't seen me too active on the Snomie blog is because I've been active behind the scenes. I've been focusing down on our VIP Snowboard Trick Secrets program, where I go one-on-one with these students. So we've got about I'm not even sure how many. We've got quite a lot of VIP students who basically send me questions, send me the riding footage, and then I have to write a critique them. And that's something I do on my own time, right? So I could be sitting down, I could be recording this very podcast, and a message will come over on Facebook. So I give them my Facebook details, Skype. We've got a group, private group going on the Facebook wall, and I interact with them on a daily basis. So with all of those VIP students, I really have to dedicate a lot of time to those guys, right? So that's why I haven't been too active on the Snomie blog. I've decided, you know what, these are the VIP students. These are the guys who really want to get down and learn those snowboard tricks, and they're part of my VIP group. So I really spend a lot of time on those guys. And that's what I've been doubling down on, just focusing down on those guys. And as well as that, I've been working on a secret project. So what I've been doing, and for those of you who have been around since the early days of Snomie.com, you know that I used to basically do one blog a day. I used to do a snowboard tip or something like that every single day. And I did that for 2 years. But mixed in with all the snowboard blogs, I sometimes did business and life blogs about how I ran Snomie, or some marketing principles about how, you know, I made Snomie profitable, how I do certain things online, why certain businesses work, and just the mindset and tactics that I use to run this online snowboard training business. And those blogs were actually some of the most popular blogs I ever had on Snomie, surprisingly enough, on a snowboard blog. But it always felt like it never really fit. Right? It always felt like I was kind of shoving business blogs onto a snowboarding blog. It felt a bit weird. So what I've been doing in secret is building up a second website, which is something I'm launching actually this week. So I've got a second website, JedidiahTan.com, and that's going to be my personal business website, where it's basically Snomie, but for business, where I'm going to show people, look, this is what I do on Snomie.com. This is how I turned Snomie from 0 to 30,000 visitors a month to profit, and where I made $4,000 in 4 days with that first product I launched on Snomie. And yeah, so JedidiahTan.com. I'll put the links in the show notes. So as with any Snomie podcast, the show notes will be snomie.com/ episode 11, okay, the number 11. And you guys can get all the show notes and links. Anything I talk about will be right there. So jedidiahtan.com is where I'll be doing business blogs. So it'll be just like Snomie, but all business related. And also I'll be doing some vlogs and behind the scenes. So for people that are curious about the business side of things, about the marketing, that's where I'm going to be working from now on. And I've been working on a secret project there, where I'm going to show you guys exactly how I do everything. And the project is basically, I'm going to go in 12 months. So from this start of January 1st up until the end of December this year, I'm going to build JedidiahTan.com from 0 up to a 6-figure recurring business. Okay, so that means I have to bring in about $8,334 a month. So I'm going to scale JedidiahTan.com up to that number, $8,334, I believe is the number. And if I reach that, that equals to a 6-figure yearly income coming in from that business side. So I'm going to be the test dummy. You guys will see, this is what I do. This is how I do it. It's a repeatable system that I've used in all my businesses and all the things that I've done. So yeah, if you're interested in business, that's what's going on over there. And as well as that, I'm also doing a special launch event for that new blog. So what I'm doing is this Friday at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be doing a free training. Okay, it's a free 1 hour live training actually. So people will show up. All you have to do is you click the link I'm going to send out, and you get to see as I walk you through the 7-step blueprint to turn any hobby and passion into a profitable online business. So this is basically the steps, the blueprint, the system that I put in place to turn any hobby that I'm interested into a profitable online business. And I've been doing this for a bunch of various niches in private for a while now. So if you're interested in any of that, in how I basically run Snomie, then make sure you're on our email list. I assume if you're watching or listening to this podcast, you should be on our email list already. So you will get the link on Thursday, which is pretty much when I'm sending this podcast out. So in the email with this podcast, I'm including the link to that free live training I'm doing this Friday at 12 p.m. Okay, so it's a 1 hour training. All you have to do is show up, and I'm basically going to walk you guys through the 7-step blueprint that I used to create Snomie and all my other businesses and turn them into profitable online businesses. Okay, so I've done that in niches from snowboarding, obviously, to fitness niches like gym routines. Woodworking is an interesting one that I dabbled in for a while. Video game tutorials. So I've done them in a variety of hobbies and passions. So I know it's a repeatable system and blueprint that I can teach to people that are interested. So yeah, that's basically what I've been up to for those, who are those curious as to what has been going on at Snomie. Now, let's get into the snowboarding things, right? So this is a snowboard podcast after all. So the topic I want to cover for the snowboarding side of things is, firstly, why the snowboard hard goods market are a horrible market. So this is something I get emails all the time. Jed, why don't you get into the hard goods market? Jed, you seem to know about picking gear and all this other stuff. Why don't you start making your own gear? And here's the problem. It's just not very profitable, okay? I know, for example, my friend Nev over at Snowboard Addiction, he's been getting into the hard goods market, okay? And it's a large investment. You have to put a huge investment into it to create all the hard goods. And then you have to handle the distribution, and you have to get the right number of products available, because it depends on the snow season, right? If you have a bad snow season, you may not be able to sell all your products. And it's just a huge headache. And the problem I see is the profit just isn't there. Okay, even if you do really well, and I know my friend Nev is doing very well with the hard goods, but even there, the profit just doesn't match up to doing other things that I could be doing, such as, the snowboard tutorial side of things. So for example, let's say someone buys some snowboard tutorials from me. Okay, so let's just make up a number, $100. Keep it nice and even, okay? The profit I'm going to get from that is going to be probably 50 to 90% of that will be profit. But with snowboard hard goods, that's not the profit. You make $100 in snowboard hard goods, a lot of that is going to the product creation, to the marketing, to a lot of other factors. Basically, you're paying for a lot of other things besides just a product. But with a online snowboard tutorial product that I do, I don't have to worry about any of those things. Okay, so that's the problem. I don't really want to invest, say, $100,000 into snowboard hard goods and then make, I don't know, $140,000 back. It's a lot of work when I can take that same work, that same money, that same investment, and create more snowboard tutorials, or create basically any online tutorials that would make way more money, and I'd have way more fun doing it than trying to navigate the annoying hard goods market. So I mean that should answer your question. As for all the people sending me emails why I don't do hard goods, there it is right there. Okay, it's a large investment in revenue for not the right gains for my time spent. And time is something that's pretty valuable, right? So I'd rather spend it on things that I'm passionate about and things that will grow my business. Okay, so that's basically why I don't get into the snowboard hard goods market. Now, topic 6. That's not even a topic. I don't know where I got number 6 from, but anyway, next snowboard topic I want to talk about is the snowboard spin cheat sheet that every pro uses. Okay, so this is something that you need to be developing at as basically as soon as you start hitting snowboard jumps and start spinning. Okay, so this cheat sheet I'm talking about is the mental checklist, the mental muscle memory that you're building every time you hit a new jump. And how this works is every pro snowboarder, every good snowboarder, not even the pros, every good snowboarder, when they hit a jump, first they'll look at it, they'll say, okay, this is how big the jump is, this is roughly how fast I have to be going, and here's the kicker, the spin part, this is how hard I have to initiate the spin. Okay, so they'll think, okay, 360, this is how hard I'm going to have to spin to do a 360 on this jump. Okay, so basically what they're doing every time they hit a jump, they're thinking, okay, I'm going to initiate the spin this hard and it's going to be a 360. I'm going to have to initiate the spin this hard and it's going to be a 540. Now they don't get it perfectly right every time. As you guys have seen, even pros mess up their spins from time to time. But what they're doing is over time, they have this mental cheat sheet in their head of knowing that, okay, this is a 20-foot jump. I know I have to initiate the spin this hard to do a 360 on it, so that the next time they come to a similar looking jump with a similar setup, they think, okay, I already know roughly how hard I need to spin here to do this 360. That's why when a pro hits a jump, he already has a rough idea of how to initiate his spin, because he's comparing it to all the previous jumps that he's hit in the past. And this is something that you need to be actively doing. Okay, if you come up to a jump in the park and you see, okay, this is a 20-foot jump. It's a long jump and I've hit this type of jump before and I know that this is how much spin power I used in the past. That's where your reference is coming from. You have to look back at what you've done in the past and think, okay, I know this is roughly how much spin power I need. Because if you don't have that, then you're just going into it blind. You're just gonna huck your body and spin and kind of cross your fingers and pray. And that's not what you guys know. That's not what I recommend. That's not what I teach. Is you got to spin from experience. You have to know what you're doing. It's why back when I was in New Zealand, I used to have a friend who would scare us so much every time he would hit a jump, because he had no spin cheat sheet in his head. His technique was basically, I'm going to go off that jump and I'm going to huck this spin and then I'm going to do something awesome. I'm going to do like a 720. And then we would be terrified for him, because usually on your first hit of a new jump, you're testing the waters. You're using that mental cheat sheet in your head and thinking, okay, I'm going to do a 360 as my first spin on this jump because I'm not really sure exactly if it fits, But if you don't have that, then you're just going into a blind and you're just hucking, and it's a really good way to hurt yourself, right? So once you have that in your head, it makes every other jump easier to do. And it's something you have to build up over time, because you need to hit a variety of jumps. You need to get used to it. If you've never hit a 10-foot jump and you come to another 10-foot jump, then obviously you don't have that experience to think back on. But the more jumps you hit, the more variety of parks and snowboard freestyle terrain that you hit, you start building up this mental cheat sheet more and more, so that that's how a competitive pro thinks. Okay, that's how those guys that do a lot of competitions that go from park to park think. The reason they can just arrive at this brand new park and spin out that double cork 1080 is because they're comparing this jump roughly to another jump they've hit in the past. So they've already got it in their head that, okay, this is how much I need to spin. This is how hard I need to spin roughly to do this particular trick. Okay, so this is something you have to be building up. And as well as that, this also applies to corked versus flat spin. So I get a lot of people asking me, okay, what exactly is going to be the difference if I'm doing a cork fin versus a flat fin versus a flat spin? And for those who don't know, a cork spin is basically where you start going a little upside down. Okay, you're not just spinning left to right, but you're also spinning, on that up and down direction. And how much you spin upside down is how corked you're going. Okay, so you could do a fully inverted cork trick, or you could do a little cork trick where you're just kind of dipping your shoulder a little bit when you spin. And the difference here is that it comes back down to that whole mental muscle memory spin cheat sheet that I've just been talking about. And what you need to be doing with a cork spin versus a flat spin is you need to be thinking on two levels. Okay, so when I'm doing, say, a cork spin, say my favorite trick in the book, the corked 540 spin, which is kind of like a front flip 180. So if I'm doing that, not only do I think, okay, this is roughly how hard I need to spin, I'm thinking this is roughly how hard I need to cork the trick. Okay? So with a flat spin, I'm just thinking, okay, this is just, left to right movement. But with a cork spin, I'm thinking, okay, I need to dip my head. I need to initiate downwards or upwards this hard. Otherwise, I'm not going to come up the right way up again, okay? So with a cork trick, that's the extra element, because if you cork it too hard, so if you spin upside down too hard or you spin upwards too hard, what you'll find is that, okay, that's cool, you cork the trick, but then you end up landing on your head upside down because you didn't get the right amount of cork power into it. So basically, you can think of a cork trick as a normal spin, but with an extra element of how much do you need to cork. Okay, so if for normal spin tricks, let's say you're doing a 540, you're going in and thinking, this is how hard I need to spin for 540. But with a cork trick, you're thinking, this is how hard I need to cork for a 540. Okay, so that's basically the main differences when you're initiating that cork spin versus that flat spin, is that it adds that extra element. And that's why with cork spins, you really have to have that mental checklist in your head beforehand so that you know roughly, okay, if I do it this hard, I'm not going to end up landing on my head. Right? So that's all comes down to this really important spin muscle memory mental cheat sheet that you need to building up over the course of your entire riding time. Okay, so every time, that's what I want you guys to do. Every time you hit a snowboard jump, you want to be thinking, okay, I'm going to note this down. This is roughly how hard my body has to initiate this spin on this size jump to get it around. Okay, and usually the gold standard, or that most people use, is a 360. Okay, this is how hard I need to spin this 360, because once you've got that 360, you can roughly tweak it to do bigger spins, smaller spins, right? You roughly know the power that you need. So what I want you guys to be doing is every time you hit a jump, if you're up to that 360 stage, then think about it, okay? Record it down. Make that mental note, okay, this is a 20-foot jump, fairly standard sized air. I'm going to initiate the spin this hard, and then you note it down that this is the amount of power you need for a 20-foot jump of this type. Then you see a 30-foot jump and you think, okay, this is how hard you need to initiate a spin on a 30-foot jump for a 360, and etc., etc. And you just build up that mental portfolio of your spin cheat sheet. Okay, so yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little podcast. Not too long, not too short. I think we're going about 20-25 minutes, so we got a solid podcast in here. And yeah, so if you're interested in the business side of things, definitely check out my new business blog over at jedidiahtan.com. And if you're interested in the training I'm doing tomorrow, basically, once you listen to this, it will be tomorrow, Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific time. This Friday, I'm doing a 1-hour live training, the 7-step blueprint to turn any hobby and passion into a profitable online business. Okay, so you're interested in that, then there was a link given out not only in this email, but I'm going to include a link to go check out that free live training in the show notes as well. So all you need to do is you need to click that link and just be there, 12 p.m. Pacific time. Okay, so yeah, hope you guys enjoy. So from now on, I'll be running 2 blogs. So I got Snomie for the snowboarding side of things, and jedidiahtan.com is where you find any business related blogs and the behind the scenes of running Snomie. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Boards, Beer, and BS. I hope to see you guys on the hill sometime. I hope you guys have an awesome season. Take care.